All right, everybody, welcome to Recreating Connections podcast, and we're continuing Recreation Resources Services Month. I'm your host, Alex Cadet. I am the outreach consultant with NC State Recreation Resources Service, and I got my co-host.
I am Holly Henry, and I'm the University Program Associate, and I am also with RRS.
And today we have a special guest with us. We have the Southeast Regional Consultant, Brittany Shipp, with us. Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you. Glad to be here with you guys.
Thank you for coming on the podcast today. We're so excited to have you.
I know it's my first podcast ever, so it's kind of exciting for me too.
Yay! So we're just going to kick it off. Can you share how you first got into the field of Parks and Recreation?
So I feel like my journey to Parks and Recreation is kind of an interesting one. From a personal perspective, I always like to say that I literally was involved in Parks and Recreation like pre even being born because my dad was always very much involved in our local recreation youth sport leagues. I mean, even when he was younger, he volunteered in high school with different local programs, played Legion ball, umpired, and all that. So, kind of always been in the field, but professionally, it's interesting because I definitely started at East Carolina, full on business marketing plan, and came across statistics and found that maybe business marketing was not going to be for me because statistics was a class that was required for that degree. So literally my cousin and I sat down one summer here in Emerald Isle and flipped through the East Carolina course book trying to find degrees that didn't require statistics.
I love that.
Yeah, and came across at that time it was recreation and leisure studies, and commercial recreation and tourism had a lot of the same aspects that I was interested in when I was pursuing marketing. So that's literally how I ended up as far as going that path educationally. And it's very interesting because when I served as director for the town of Swansboro, in my first year there was a lady that came to the park every day to walk with her husband throughout the summer months. And she was my statistics teacher or professor from East Carolina. So
Oh, that's so cool.
it was a very interesting experience. So I still kind of regret not ever approaching her to tell her that we could thank her for me becoming a Parks and Recreation professional.
As somebody that
So,
took statistics three times,
right?
Right?
I felt that.
I mean, like, don't come at me with imaginary numbers. Like, they're real or they're not real. I don't.
Yeah, I don't deal in potentially not real numbers. It's
No
not
way.
in my understanding.
No way. So, yeah. So
I
I
took,
only took it twice. The third
yeah,
time was not the charm for me. After the second time, I was like, I've got to drop this and find a new path.
Oh, I had to go in the summer. I was like, yeah, we gotta knock
Yeah.
this out in the summer.
No, I think statistics is one of those like love hate because you find people out there that really enjoyed it. And yeah.
I appreciate those people so much. I had to take trig 3 times, and
Eesh,
I
yeah.
so I never even thought about statistics. So
Yeah. No. Yeah.
yeah. So what were some of the early experiences or roles that shaped your passion for this work? Like after you decided on the major, after you felt like, that was the path for you, what were some of the your early experiences or roles that shaped that passion?
I mean, for me, I can honestly say that it's always been about serving people. Anybody that's met me could definitely probably pinpoint the fact that I'm absolutely a people person and I thrive on seeing other people happy and finding watching people experience experiences that they may not ever get to experience without the opportunity that's provided through public recreation. I think it's just a really cool field and one of the only fields that you're really getting to experience people from so many different backgrounds, generations, lifestyles, but everybody being able to come together and have those same moments of, experience and joy and excitement and, that self-fulfilling prophecy. They're out doing something fun and it doesn't matter, what they have back at home or what they left at work or whatever they have going on. Everybody's experiencing something in the same way. And I just think
That's so
that's really
true.
cool. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's so
super
true.
cool. So for me, when I started, I interned with Emerald Isle Parks and Recreation as a recreation coordinator. So that was a cool experience because I got to experience, a transient community. So it's, there's locals that live there year round, but then there's also, tourists that come in seasonally, and being able to provide programs, to just in multifaceted ways based on who the user was really cool. And then after that, I was with Onslow County and served, at the time it was assistant program supervisor was the title, but I was the athletic director. So I covered the entire county for youth, baseball, softball, t-ball, basketball, cheerleading, ran 2 county tournaments, had thousands of kids, hundreds of coaches, hundreds of volunteers, multiple contracts with umpires. And I feel like I always say in Parks and Recreation, if you're going to be in the field, you should have to serve in some aspect of youth sports. I just feel like that conflict resolution really kind of shapes you when you're in youth athletics. It's a very interesting experience that I feel like really played a big part in shaping where I would go after that.
I agree. That's like getting thrown into the fire pretty much.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when you're, a 25, 26-year-old kid yourself. Like now I'm having to deal with these parents that are yelling at me about their kids and
Absolutely.
all of that, and it's like, it really, I mean, conflict resolution and being able to keep your composure and have thick skin and all that. I mean, I think it really, I like to say it really helped me be successful as a director, just having to deal with so many different people in that role.
So before becoming a consultant, you served as Parks and Recreation Director. What did that role teach you about leadership and community impact?
I think, for me, it was interesting because I was the first Parks and Recreation Director. I was with the town of Swansboro. And when I came on board, they had a phenomenal advisory board that had basically served as their kind of department for many years, and had, another foundation that was in the area that had worked hard to fundraise about $100,000 that was used as a part of match, to build their first recreation center in town. So it was really cool to come in to that and open the recreation center and really establish the first programs and policies, and really establish a department. And I think one of the biggest things that I learned from that role was the importance of community and community input. And I think in planning, having plans in place that you've created as a result of community input, because then you always have that tool to go back to council and to keep the ability to show the support that you have from the community. I guess I always thought it was really important to keep the community involved as much as possible, so that in times that I may be sharing something or trying to validate or share the importance of, and it's the same face every month that's going before council, whereas when you have it out in the community and its natural environment setting, it seems to ring a little truer sometimes.
So, Brittany, what led you to the transition from director to Southeast Regional Consultant with RRS?
Well, personally, as the director, I had a fabulous recreation resources consultant that I worked with for many years for the projects I had, Miss Lou Ann Bryan. And we always joked about the fact that when she retired, I had to be her, or when she planned retirement, I had to be her first phone call so that I could be fully prepared to apply, because every single thing that I loved about being a director was like what the RRS consultant position was. So like being able to be a part of projects, being able to be a part of, assisting with public input and planning components like recreation, like need surveys and master plans and comprehensive plans. Literally everything that I enjoyed about my role as director was what this position offered. So, being a pirate, there were some questions about coming on board with Wolfpack, but it could be worse. It could be NC Chapel Hill. So I've adjusted to that. But yeah, I mean, it was just a great opportunity that I felt like allowed me to put the areas where I have a lot of passion, again, with the people, into a role that pretty much solely serves the people.
Absolutely. So, Brittany, when you think back from like ECU to Emerald Isle to Onslow County and Swansboro, just like how has your perspective changed as a Parks and Recreation professional throughout this time in your different roles?
Well, again, I feel like that community involvement piece is what has really grown and developed because it's just been so validated over the years and seeing the important, you come in, you're young, you're in a position, you're excited, you want to do all these things, but a lot of them are driven from the ideas that you have, or they may be driven from the ideas that your council has because you're maybe not comfortable yet to be out in the public. And you're just trying to do the best you can in your job to continue forward. And I think over the years, I think just seeing what comes from involving the community first, establishing relationships, being out in the community, volunteering yourself. I've got two kids that are elementary school age and serve on the PTO, and it's like, I can't sit back after being someone that's always been out beating the streets and door to door begging for volunteers and not, do the same myself. So I think it just, again, just keeping that community involvement is something I think for me has just gotten stronger and stronger over the years.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about. I'm like, one day I'm just gonna have to, I'm gonna have to volunteer after
You
begging people
will.
for so
You
many.
will. Yes. You will find yourself, from season to season, coaching girls in basketball and boys in baseball and serving popcorn on Fridays. And yeah, it's good times.
So, speaking of the Southeast region, what are some of the biggest opportunities you see for parks and recreation departments in your region?
Well, I think in the Southeast and I think the extremes of the state are really North Carolina as a whole. I think tourism, whether it's through travel or through sports tourism, I think right now is booming. I think the last 5 years, post COVID and just in general with youth athletics and where it is now, I really think that tourism and parks and recreation and those relationships are something that are really starting to be more of a priority, and they're more well respected. Whereas, in previous years, tourism development authorities or councils may not have seen the opportunities that they're seeing now with what comes back on your return of investment for hosting tournaments or whatever that may be, capitalizing on the festivals that are offered, getting a part of statewide initiatives like Cycle NC or other things like that that go through the entire state and wanting to be a part of it, wanting that to come to your community to get that, economic boost. And I think that's huge right now in the Southeast.
For sure. So that which kind of leads me to like what challenges are unique to the Southeast region and how do you support local agencies in addressing them?
Well, on the very same exact thing, I think some of the infrastructure and the capacity sometimes isn't there for the smaller towns that are getting such an influx of these. Swansboro is a prime example, super small town, or any coastal community, super small towns that throughout the year they may have 4, 5, 6,000 residents, but come Memorial Day to Labor Day, they're seeing anywhere from 20 to 25,000. So just being able to stay ahead and keep up. I think maintenance plans are huge that people are starting to find, actually having them in place so they have a plan for when certain things need to be, changed out or refurbished or replaced or whatever that may be. And then, staffing, I think, is still something that's a dilemma, trying to get folks hired after COVID. A lot of folks found opportunities to work remote or hybrid or things like that. So it's getting harder and harder to find folks that are wanting to fill some of those roles that not only require weekday work, but you're also asking me to work weekends and nights, holidays and things like that. So I think that's a challenge that continues.
Okay, so outside of your RRS position and outside of Parks and Recreation, who is Brittany Shipp? What do you like to do in your spare time?
I mentioned those two kids, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, I professionally I'm Parks and Recreation, but personally I'm also very much Parks and Recreation outdoor. If the sun is or isn't shining, I prefer to be outside, boating, fishing. We love visiting our local parks. We've got a state park right here in town that's close to us that we enjoy. I mean, cooking and gardening and canning and pickling and all those fun things are
Yes.
a big, huge part. That's kind of definitely my go to. That's my therapeutic recreation.
So the last time you went fishing, what was the best thing you caught?
The last time we went fishing wasn't great, but we did catch some sea bass and some ringtails, and it was an absolutely beautiful day on the water, which tends to be the
That's
day
excellent.
that the fishing isn't as good. But I did have a really good day recently crabbing. I didn't bait the crab pot for like 4 or 5 days and came out to find a dozen huge,
Oh,
beautiful blue crabs. So
yum.
Been waiting on those.
I know.
That's
I'm like, why?
amazing.
Yeah, why bait it if I can not? There was one lady in there that I think was bringing all the fellas in to hang out. So
Nice.
Well, also I have to say this, I have to give a superlative out. After working with Brittany for it's about to be 3 years in
Yep.
December. I
wow.
have to say, best banter I've ever heard in my life. Quickest on her feet as
10
far
out of
as
10,
witty
no notes.
goes. If you're
10
not
out of
quick
10, no
enough to catch
notes.
it mentally, you might not catch it. Like
You
it's a
might miss
quick
it.
zing zing. Like it. So I have to give you your props on that. You're flat,
Well,
as you
Yes.
said.
I
There,
appreciate that. Yeah.
yeah, there is no one else who brings to the table what you bring to the table.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I can honestly say that the team we've got right now is top tier, 10 out of 10.
It's so true.
Could not say more about the work that we're doing and how much I appreciate the opportunity for us to work together. We've got a good team going right now for sure.
You really, really do.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you for making your guest appearance, Brittany, and we hope we didn't
Yes.
give you too much of a hard time today.
No, I think we're good. I think we're good. I enjoyed it. Maybe
Thank
next time
you.
we'll have to bring a director or somebody from our region in with us so we can add another little perspective into it.
Definitely. Well,
Hear
That
from the
sounds great.
outside.
We can do that
perfect.
before the directors conference in February.
Oh yeah, that would be good. That would be a good one.
Well, thank y'all for tuning in, and we have more RRS members coming up later this month, so stay tuned.
All right, thanks guys.